path to success that feels both authentic and fulfilling.
Okay.
Somebody has a hot mic, or can someone help me
मुझे अच्छा
mute?
ही लगा उनको क्या लगा
Yes, thank you. Okay. He helps corporations retain their top talent by enhancing the mindset and professional skills required to sustain a long and fulfilling careers within an organization. Um, Frank, fill in the gaps, and we ask that you answer one question for this group. And the question is, can you share one piece of insider knowledge that many job seekers might not be aware of, but would find incredibly helpful in their job search? Take it
Yeah.
away, my friend. The floor is yours.
Well, thanks. And it was good hearing Jonathan. I thought that was excellent. The Hunter X. You guys should definitely rely on that. I'm going to keep it simple. Background on me, when I graduated college, I was a pilot in the Army for about 6.5 years. I flew Black Hawk helicopters, wrote a book about it called Life Lessons from the Cockpit. After I finished in the Army, I went back to get an MBA, and then I worked for 26 years on Wall Street for Wells Fargo. In October, I retired and started this business. My last job at Wells Fargo was head of talent development. So I've interviewed and run the promotion committees and all that for thousands of people. I want to keep it really simple today. And I want to answer the question directly that was placed in front of me. And I'll start off by saying, whether you're dealing with a personal relationship, a recruiting search, a job search, an interview, the most important person that you're exchanging information with in that conversation between the two of them is the other person, not you. It's not about you. The number one thing that you, me, everyone else needs to figure out if you want to have incredibly high hit rates, if you want to be, as Jonathan said, very successful in not only finding opportunities, but getting people to lead you to opportunities. And then when you get in the room, you close and you do it really well. It comes down to one simple thing. Do you understand the other person's greatest pain point, the biggest problem they're trying to solve in whatever environment that you're talking about? And then do you understand how to convert your life experiences into explaining why you can help them solve that problem? It's not about you at first. It's about identifying the biggest pain points. So I think it was Renee. Renee's from Arizona, right? Renee, we were talking before. Okay. And Renee said, she was talking about the desert and allergies and things. And so it gave me a quick analogy that I thought, now this really might be effective analogy. So Renee's walking through the desert. She's been walking all day. I assume it's really hot in the Arizona desert. I pop up from nowhere and I say, Renee, good to see you. She says, hey, good to see you, Frank. Now, if I asked Renee, you've been walking all day in the desert. What's the biggest problem that I can help you solve? What do y'all think she's going to say?
Water.
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 All right, okay. So let's just go with water. Maybe it's also she wants a ride out of the desert, but let's go with water. Now I hear her tell me her greatest pain point. And instead, I decide to tell her that I used to work in investment banking. And here's a picture of me flying a helicopter. And look at my kids. Hey, would you like a nice pizza dinner? And I talk about everything about me that might be pretty cool. But in the context of what she is dealing with, she cares beyond a shadow of a doubt about one thing: drinking water. She wants to know, Frank, do you have a cold bottle of water? To the extent in your job search, in your interviews, you can identify the greatest pain point, the greatest problem they're trying to solve. And to the extent you can articulate why you are the person that can help them solve that, you will be valuable to everyone. Think about your personal relationships. Everyone you engage with, if they come to you to help them solve a problem and you're able to solve that problem, you become valuable to them. In the marketplace, if you're working in a business and you can help your boss solve more problems, then you become more valuable. You probably get promoted and you probably get paid more. The key is identifying the biggest pain points. So how do you do that in a practical sense? Well, let's say I meet Des, and I know Des knows a lot of people on LinkedIn. Man, I looked at his profile. He knows everyone. He's the man. And I say to Des, "Hey Des, can you hook me up? Can you get me a job? Can you introduce me to all these people?" I'm talking to him from the context of what I want. I want him to help me. But if I was smart, I would try to think, what does Des want out of this? Well, maybe Des is a person who likes to feel, he gets fulfillment by impacting others' lives. Maybe he gets a sense of happiness when he can connect someone to someone else. So if I'm smart and I recognize the biggest problem he tries to solve, then I would say, I want to do things or place things in a context that makes him want to help me to solve the problem that he has. So if his problem is, I need fulfillment by helping others, then I want to offer my engagement as an opportunity for him to help others. So I don't approach him and go, "Hey man, hook me up. Can you introduce me?" No, I offered him. I said, "Hey Des, I know you're famous for helping other people out. Tell me why you like doing that." And he goes, "Oh, ever since I was little, my mother told me I'm making this stuff up, of course, help people, and we help people across the street, and that's the culture I was brought up in." And I say, "Well, that's real excellent. And I see that you have a lot of connections. Are you willing to help me out by..." I'm talking his language, right? That's the language that he cares about. So in networking, you always want to first sense and get a feel for what is the other person's perspective? What are they trying to solve? So everyone that I engage, from the time I was flying helicopters to being a managing director on Wall Street to this job, to my personal relationships, to raising my kids, I always start with one premise. What does the other person want out of this? What are they trying to solve? And if you do that, this is the key to the kingdom. Then all you have to do is the second part. I'm going to tell you that in a second. The number one thing to do is identify the problem that you need to solve. If you can identify it, then you've got a shot. If there's a stack of resumes and everyone's talking about where they went to school and what their pedigree is, blah, 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 the person listening is just thinking, can that person help me solve my problem? If I'm trying to hire someone to be an investment banker, well, I'm looking for someone who is really analytical, probably was really good in school, probably likes working on complicated problems. But let's flip. If I was in the military and I was looking to find someone to train to be a Navy SEAL, would I care about all this analytical schoolwork stuff? No, I would want someone who was mentally tenacious, maybe physically athletic, maybe had high endurance, maybe was a good swimmer. But if I was going to look for a doctor, I'd want someone that loved the sciences. The point is, you need to understand what problem it is they're trying to solve. And then you go to the second part, which is you got to know yourself, right? You've got to know what is the juice. I think someone said earlier, what is the superpower that you bring to the table? And then how do you tell a story to connect that with what they want? I'll give you a quick example. When I was coming out of the Army, I knew nothing about finance. I grew up, my dad was in the Army, I was in the Army. I didn't know anything about finance. I went back to business school, but I was in interviews on Wall Street, and a lot of people worked there. Their parents came from the country club. They did Wall. I knew nothing about that, but I did know one thing. I figured out the problem that they wanted to solve is to find people who were analytical, hardworking, and could work in small teams under pressure. So what did I do? I told a lot of helicopter flying stories about how we plan missions into the middle of a country, in the middle of the night, under 100 feet, with threat assessment. And we have to understand aeromedical. I think I got muted. Was it just muted for a second? Somebody?
I don't know. It
It
wasn't me.
was, it was
Okay.
just 1 minute.
Okay. So quickly on this thing. So I just told a lot of stories. I didn't tell stories that, oh, I was born in Washington, D.C., my mother's a nice person. I told stories that were relevant to solving the problem they were looking for. I never told a story unless it had a purpose to make them feel like I was a person that could help them. So after I would walk through how to plan and execute a mission in the middle of the night under complicated situations with danger and all that kind of stuff, they would walk away thinking, he doesn't know crap about finance, but he's analytical and he can figure this out. The point I want to make is, guys, when you're in interviews, when you're networking, identify what it is that they're trying to solve for, then identify what you can bring to the table to solve for that problem. Jot these questions down. I'm going to give you a quick way to find out your superpowers, right? And I can share it here. Let me share. I'm going to do a little sharing like Jonathan did. He was so good with that. All right, can you guys see that? Can anyone see that?
Yes, we're seeing it. It's
All right.
awesome. Yes.
Speak as you guys talk. This is interactive. All right, 10 thought. But this is what I do with all my coaching clients. I can send this to you. There's no secret. There's no there's no secret sauce. It's common sense stuff. Number one, what if others consistently praise you for across different stages of life? If people have praised you for it, especially if it wasn't praise that you were seeking, then you probably have an idea of something that could lead to one of your dominant attributes or your superpowers. When something complex or chaotic is happening, what's your instinctive role or contribution to bring clarity? Think about times when things were upside down with a group, whether it was school, whether it was family. What did you bring to the table? Like what was your contribution? In what kind of conversations do you feel most confident? What do people trust you with, right? Without even asking you. In other words, what do people come to you for? If you can figure out what people come to you for, then you say, well, Frank, but that's like they like my empathy. They like the fact that I'm understanding and listening. That's a hell of a marketable skill in certain areas. In other words, that might not get you a job on the trading floor as a quant trader or an algorithmic, PhD, but it might get you a great job where you have to interact, coach with people. Maybe it gets you a great job where you're a client manager. You've got to figure out your superpowers, and then you've got to figure out where they are most identified and wanted in society. And then you got to get good at telling stories in a quick way, 1 minute or so, that make them believe that's a powerful attribute to help them solve their problem. Last thing, and then we'll go to Q&A because I know we're really short on time. If I say, name two great Americans, I know we don't have time for this, and someone goes back, someone like me, I'm 59 years old, they say, well, think about some great Americans, when you were, oh, hey, Neil Armstrong, that guy landed on the moon. And then you say, no, I want something totally different. I say Maya Angelou, a poet, right? Now, we can all agree they were both extraordinary human beings. One was an astronaut, one changed the world with oratory. But are they interchangeable? In other words, can one do the other one's job? Could Maya Angelou become an astronaut, just change jobs? Could Neil Armstrong change the world through poetry? Probably not without a lot of work. And even if they had to work, if they didn't have the natural attributes, even all the work wouldn't do. Remember Michael Jordan, perhaps the most successful basketball player of all time. Remember when he tried to become a baseball player and he was playing in the minor leagues? He couldn't hit a curveball. He still had a work ethic, right? And as a basketball player, he'd go out and take 1,000 shots every morning, right? Before he ate breakfast. It's not work ethic alone. It's certainly not talent. It's talent and work ethic applied to a situation where they are looking to solve a problem with the type of person that you are. So the last piece of advice I'll give you, you've got to get better aligned. If you're just saying, hey, can you give me a job? You're automatically minimizing yourself to just a worker bee. If you say, here's what I really bring to the table, the three most important things, and you call up Bez and you say, hey, here's the thing. These are the three things I'm good at. Here are the things that give me fulfillment. And can you put me in touch with people who have problems that I could help them solve? I promise you, your hit rate will be better. Sending out resumes is crazy because you have to get to the right place first, and that comes with how you engage others and figure out the problems they're solving for. I'll stop there.
Wow, that is amazing, Frank. Thank you. I see a lot of clapping in the reactions here. Yeah, if you want to drop that document in the chat, like John did,